So I am so excited to share a testimony about Kevin Blake Weldon and his coaching. So I was going through a very interesting transition and challenge in my life and was just trying to shift from more of a negative experience, negative state to more of a positive one. And so I was led to him. And through this process, he helped me to shift a lot of my patterns, a lot of my paradigms. And one of the greatest gifts that I received out of this experience was one technique that he showed me that actually truly worked. I wound up manifesting one of the biggest checks I've ever, actually the biggest check I've ever had, and in my business, as well as attracting the love of my life. And it was all through his coaching, as well as some of his leadership and his techniques that he taught me. So I'm really grateful for you, Kevin. Super in love with my life, and I love that we had the ability to work together. And I can't wait to see you inspire so many hundreds of thousands or millions of people around the world to shift their own paradigms and create the best life that they deserve, because we all deserve the best. Sometimes we just need the tools, and we need mentors and leaders like people like Kevin to help us to reach those dreams.
Have spent the last couple of years kind of delving into Joe Dispenza, the manifesting. I hadn't gotten to any level with it. Like, I mean, I've been listening to the manifestation tapes and everything, but I just wasn't getting results. So I'd already started on that journey, but I felt like I was treading water. So.
So when I did the workshop, so you saw me in a workshop and then you did the workshop, and then
Yes.
what had kind of changed? Like, why would you have decided to say yes to this program?
Because I felt like I actually got results in that first 5 days. And I was like, wow, if I got results in 5 days, what's going to happen in a year? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it's going to blow it wide open. I haven't gotten this much for results in the past 2 years, but I got it in 5 days.
I,
It just all clicked. Like, I don't know if it's because it was both you and Kevin,
Mhm.
and I was hearing the guy's side of it as well. Um, or if it's just I felt really connected to you guys and your stories, and it was really relatable to me. Or if it's just it was divine timing. I mean, the whole way I ended up at that was like a big long story of things falling into place. So
Yeah, so what made me decide to go along with it was the changes that you've made, and also other people in the program that's taken your program that I'm also friends with has changed dramatically as well. So that's what made me come into the program.
I was half excited for life, half like out of it. I was literally a month away from being a doctor, and then in the worst relationship I've ever experienced. And so it was like I was literally living like two lives, and it really was not a good place for me. Like I was scared to death that like in the relationship, and it was only 5 weeks, and it was just like the worst time. And then just like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor next month. So like all my life was coming together, but all of a sudden these two worlds were just not working. So there was just like a sudden need for change. It was like the worst thing I've ever experienced was with that person, that guy. So I took a 5 week course leading into, committing to 12 months. And it was just like, wow, I get it now. But I didn't get it, and I got excited. Um, so after the workshop and everything, I mean, obviously it's just my mind saying, nah, you don't need this. You're doing fine on your own, even though I wasn't. And I was like, I don't need to know this. And I had a couple more meetings with you, and every time you would just hit the nail on the head of like, this is how you're feeling, and it's definitely something that you need to surface and understand. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'd be like, I have like a really long drive, so I'd be like, no. no, but why do I keep thinking about it? And I'm like, I need to trust my gut on this and just go for it if I'm like obsessing about the fact that I'm not making changes on my own, and then she knows what I need to know. So um yeah, that was there was just I had like 2 or 3 meetings with you where I was just like, uh-huh. And then at the end of the day, I'd just be like, no, yes, no. I kind of felt like, all right, let's just do it. I'm out of my options now, and I've exhausted it. I hit my lowest in just a short 5 weeks, and I hit my lowest, and I'm like, it can only get better from here.
Yeah.
So,
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia and I wanted to leave a short testimony about my work with Natalie. Um, I've been doing a lot of work on my body generally. I wasn't particularly overweight when I started working with her, but my issue was getting to that kind of ideal body that I used to have many, many years ago, and to that level where I just couldn't get. I worked with a number of coaches, which on the face of it did similar programs to what Natalie was doing, and yet I just couldn't get the results. Just the last 4 or 5 kilograms, I just couldn't get rid of them. A couple of times it happened, and then I got them straight back in. Mostly wasn't even aware what I did wrong. And yeah, the other thing I was working on in parallel was the mindset stuff. So I did a lot of Bob Proctor work. Before that, it was Tony Robbins. And Natalie just ticked the boxes because she was doing both. And the long story short, how long did it take us? Maybe about 8 months that I got the body I wanted. I lost the weight. My body went to size 6, UK size 6, that's the smallest there is, upper body, and size 8, lower body. But even in a funny way, even though that was actually my goal when I started working with her, the funny thing is that I got so much more out of it than just the body, even though I'm loving it and enjoying it and am forever grateful. It's because the work we did was rather deep. And Natalie showed me and taught me all sorts of things to do with myself. I got to learn about myself, what triggers me, what makes me upset, kind of why, and then what do I do food-wise to stop myself being upset. As humans, we don't like tension, so when we feel uncomfortable for whatever way, we develop coping mechanisms. Not for everyone, I don't think it's food, but for many people it is. For me, it certainly was. And Natalie taught me to become aware of my triggers, to become aware of what's going on in my mind, but also notice when I have a treat or a bad food, how does it taste? How different the first 2 squares of my chocolate are to my, I don't know, to my last two. All sorts of things of that nature, of learning to understand yourself, of learning to feel your body. That idea of being in the body rather than constantly in the mind and chasing something and looking to control things that are not controllable, or things that actually you don't need to control. So I got, as I said, I got the body, which I basically came to the point when I was resigning that it's not possible, that I'm 48 years old, and a lot of people told me, look, you're in a great shape and you just want to get to a body when you were 20 before you had your child. Perhaps it's just not realistic. And as I said, I wasn't overweight by anyone's standards. I used to be size 8, size 10 slightly at the lower body. So I got that, which in itself is a huge thing. And I got much more happiness, connectedness to myself. But also, because of the way we achieved it, I know it's sustainable. There's no reason for me to ever lose it. I know what to do in terms of mechanics of it, but more importantly, I know how to stay in tune with myself and correct. I mean, we all make mistakes, but I know how to correct and I know what to watch for.
I was feeling very unhappy, even though my life seemed to be okay. I had a job, unfortunately, don't like. I have a house, unfortunately, didn't like it, and things like that. But I still didn't feel satisfied with anything. I was single. I've been single for 3 years. And since my last relationship, I was just like, oh, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this. It's too difficult. It's too much work. It's too time consuming. It's like you're not meeting the right people, the right men. You're not, attracting the right responses or anything like that. So I just kind of like pretty much gave up. Those 3 words or 2 words, give up, was probably what I felt the most. I think that a lot that had changed was I had originally seen one of your master classes, and at the time I thought, oh, I don't need this. This is not going to help me. This is not going to do anything for my life or anything like that. But then for some reason, I kept seeing you. And then when you did the last master class, it just you just resonated with me completely. And I think it was on day 4, because you had done it for 5 days. And day 4 was about decisions. And that just hit home for me. And I remember you were talking about it, and I couldn't stop crying. I'm like, wow, this is me. This is me to a T. Like, why can't I make a decision? And I think that was my turning point.
I think I can say my biggest thing is in the beginning, same thing. Oh my God, it's a lot. Like, is it worth it? But when you look at how much better you feel, even just after like the first class, like, oh my God, like there are like other people who feel this way, and you meet people and people you don't know, but you feel like you've known them forever because you all connect on some different level. And myself, it's been a bunch of self-awareness, figuring out what's going on inside myself. And even though maybe I haven't done all the work that I need to, I've learned what I need to do and how I need to get there. And now I have confidence that I can get there where before I didn't. So, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, we're already half done, but I know that we're always going to have this information because we can go back and record it. That's a different thing about going to a counselor. You go once and then you leave and it's gone. Where we have these recordings, we have the stuff from Procter & Gamble and all that, and we'll always have that there. And if you just go back and keep looking at it, it gives you that little boost that you need. And it's just, I look forward to these days. Like, it's my favorite day of the week.
That's awesome. And how has this helped with you and your husband? Because you mentioned,
well, it's just made me more aware of the times when maybe, like you said, you can't play the blame game. Like, it's not all on him. Like, I'm noticing ways that I can make things different to change our communication. So it's not perfect by any means, but it's helping me be more aware of what I can do to get it where I want it to be. So,
and you're having more fun though. You mentioned in your post, you're definitely having more fun than you did.
We're having more fun. And I'm just kind of like not focusing on the times when, I mean, it's hard. I'm human. Like, obviously I still notice the times when he's being down, but I'm better at walking away now and saying that's not about me, that's about him. Mm-hmm. And then trying to just point different things out to him and distract him somehow and point out how, that's not the only way to look at things. And it seems to work. He's a tough old guy, but we're getting there.
You're also helping your daughters. Haven't you helped your daughters? Yeah. In a lot
and they've said that they can see a difference in me, just that I'm getting stronger. And there's some days where I don't feel so strong, but then I feel so much stronger than I did just a couple months ago. And I know that no matter what and whatever happens, that I've grown so much just in these last few months. And to me, that's awesome.
So you mentioned that, because I did have a few friends that reached out to me and were just saying, oh, Lynn, you look great. Oh, Lynn, you look great. What are you doing? You look great. And it's funny because nothing physical had changed about me, but I realized, I'm like, oh, it's my energy. That's what people are seeing. So like when they're seeing a photo of me on Facebook, on social media, it's my energy that they're seeing. It's not my physical attributes, because those haven't changed. The other thing too that really, really changed was I started dating again. And so I suggested that I make dating fun, because in the past, that was definitely not fun for me. I saw it as work. I saw it as, oh, there's just another one. Oh, this is what I'm going to attract, or anything like that. So this time around, I said, no, this time I'm going to make dating and I'm going to make it fun. in the sense that I'm not going to put any expectations. Previously, when I had been dating before, one of the things that my friends loved about it were my dating stories because they were bad. And I would constantly repeat these dating stories to my friends, and they loved it. They thought this was great. But meanwhile, I kept promoting bad dates because I kept talking about bad dates. So this time around, it was just like I said, it was just a lot easier. It was just no expectations when I went on the date. If it worked, it worked. And if it didn't, oh well, I moved on. And I did a chart where I wrote all the characteristics of the man that I wanted to find. And it was fairly extensive at first. And then I kind of like looked at it and I said, okay, this is kind of like what I want.
So the same one as Kevin's, basically,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. The little circle, my man, and he has to have this, has to have that, has to have that, has to have that. The thing too that I noticed is I made sure that any quality that I put down on this piece of paper, I have. Because you can't go into a relationship expecting somebody to have that quality and you don't have it. 2 minutes later, from writing that date down, I get a message from somebody that I had talked to the day before. And this gentleman asked me, can you call me? Yeah, sure. I'm just going to finish my class and then I'll give you a call. We had a 3-hour conversation and it just was amazing. Like the way that we communicated, the way that we talked, the way that we laughed and everything else. And it just seemed to flow so naturally. There was no pressure. There was no, oh, I need to impress him. It was nothing. It was just me being me and him being him. And so we met the next day and it's been basically going great ever since. I feel a connection to this man like I've never felt before. And it's going great.
So is there anything else you wanted to add, Lynn?
I think what I'd want to add is that I told him I loved him. And this is, you have to keep in mind that this is like a 2-week relationship. Granted, we've spent almost all our time together. And the funny thing is that this is like no other relationship I've had. Like the connection that we have is so strong, so early. And it's just nothing like I've had.
And how does that make you feel?
Oh, extremely excited, extremely happy, extremely content. It's funny. That's one of the words that we use a lot is that we're like just content. Like it is
fulfilled
yeah.
in this, right? And do you believe now when you just know, when you would hear it, when people would say, when you meet that person, you'll just know. Now, do you know what they mean?
I do, because I can honestly say, as soon as I laid my eyes on him, I knew.
See?
I felt it like right away.
And all
and
the
greatest to deny it for 2 weeks.
That's all. And all the greatest masters have all said it. Trust me, when you are connected to your authentic self, when you have stepped into your power and then you meet the people in your life, you will know. Yep. Yes or no every single time. And when it is a soulmate, you will like, yes. And it's not just soulmates as in love. We have soul sisters and soul, like I've met a lot of soul sisters and friends and all these people that are just so connected to my soul. It's not just, we think we're looking for that one soulmate. You're missing the boat. You're about to meet a lot more than one soulmate. You're about to meet all these people that are so aligned with your soul and it feels so good. You just know it like, oh my God, I'm drawn to this person. Why?
Exactly. And then you speak of soulmates and other people, the ladies that I've been able to meet from these classes have been incredible. And I know that I've made lifelong friends by taking this course.
Probably a week into the program, I attracted my current boyfriend, who's like on his way over. He'll be here in like an hour and a half. And it's just so nice. I mean, I wanted love, and I wanted to attract just a better life so I can have my dream home and still do the career that I love. And so literally just having him completely was like, wow, if I can do that, imagine what I can do in a couple years time. So it's yeah. So literally, like, I found him right away, and then I was able to get a job right in the place that I was working at, and be with the patients that I love working with. And already I'm pretty much getting an apartment that I've been dreaming about. Like every time I drove by it, I'm like, I want that. And all of a sudden it was just like I'm learning to just act on these impulses I always pushed down and ignored, and now I'm making things happen for myself. So I honestly, all three of those are things that I was always like, at least if I have the body, maybe I'll be okay with. And then I was like, well, no, because it's always mindset. Like, you see whatever the world, the fitness world throws out there, that's all you see. I'm like, body, mind. And then you brought together the soul, and I was like, wow, okay. So these are three different things. And if we work on them, things happen the
If
way
we,
they're supposed to.
if we align them.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So very beneficial, especially because I've always had fitness goals that I was never able to meet, or nutritional goals and everything. So
How does it feel like to change your programming around food, how you see food? Because you don't see food the same way anymore, do you?
I don't, and I don't feel the food the same way I do. So now when I do decide to indulge in that piece that I haven't in a long time, my body says, are you sure? It tastes different, it feels different, it sits different. So it's really cool to know that like when my mind shifted about the food that my body doesn't truly actually want, like my body's starting to shift too. My body is literally starting to transform before my eyes.
Yeah. So
And then when you spoke to your husband, remember there was a moment where he's like, wait a minute on the price. And you remember
yeah,
them going
yeah,
back and forth on that.
yeah.
Investing in
So
yourself, right?
yeah, and he doesn't know how much I've ever spent on any of the other stuff, the meditations, or, going to different like holistic spas, and taking classes. And so he didn't have any idea to begin with, as far as price. We had gone to marriage counseling previously, though, and so he freaked out over the price and said, that's too much. And so I thought about it, and I said, all right, well, to me it wasn't too much, but to him it was. So I'm like, how am I going to explain it to him? Um, so I just kind of broke it down to a per class basis. I was like, all right, if we're taking class 2 to 3 times a week, plus any one-on-ones we want with Natalie, and you broke it out to a per class cost, it was less than marriage counseling was. Once I did that, he was like, oh, okay. Because when he just saw the lump sum, he's like, why would she charge so much? And I'm like, well, think about it. She, it's her time, and this is all the hours invested. And then it's less, like way less than what we were paying a marriage counselor.
And how is
So,
marriage counseling working for compared to this
um,
program, if you were to compare the two?
there's no comparison. Like, there is no comparison between the two. I felt like our counselor, I understood like what she was doing for him, but in doing so, it completely disregarded how I felt and what I wanted. I actually ended up saying, I'm all done. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is not going to work, because although it was working for him, um, in the way he needed to approach things, the total disregard for me, like, just kind of left me with resentment. So
So
it
it's not
didn't.
working for him in a way, right? Because if you're
Well,
still
right,
doing it
yeah,
that way,
yeah. I mean, it was a crutch. It got us through sometimes, but it didn't give us the tools that we needed to have a better marriage. I feel like this class is giving me so many tools to make myself a better, I don't want to say a better person, it's kind of cliche, but the
Connected to
person that I am. I mean, it's helping me to develop my true self. I'm sharing that with him. Um, so how can that not be helpful to both of us?
and what we teach around changing how you see food, how you see money,
Mhm.
how you see your love life. When you really change the way you see these things, then you're in control. You're in
Yeah,
control. Not
yeah.
the food, not the money, not the
Hmm.
relationships that are out of whack, right? You're in
Yeah,
control. And how does
yeah.
that feel?
So it feels amazing. We had our company barbecue last weekend, and I bought all these pasta salads and potato salads for everybody, and we had burgers and hot dogs, and I bought a veggie platter. And I literally ate 3 bites of coleslaw, and then I had burger and vegetables, and I was like happy as could be.
Mhm.
Um, I had a couple cookies, piece of cake, which was way out of my usual. But whereas I would have eaten that cake for a whole week after, because there was a lot left over, I threw it away. I was like, I don't need it. Now, previously, I would have been like, I can't throw the cake away. I gotta eat the cake.
Yeah. And remember when you first start the program, you're like, oh, I don't know that I could give up these foods. I remember you saying that, oh, I don't know how I could do that. Oh,
I
I
was
don't
like, my chocolate, I can't give up my chocolate. I can't give up my snacks, my cookies, oh, I love ice cream, and it's summer, and I've had ice cream once this summer, and I don't miss it. And even then, they gave me such a big, I got a mini, and it was like too big. And I was like, oh, next time I'm going to tell them I'll pay for it. Give me half, because I just, I don't want it. Um, and the biggest thing was you had said, and this stuck so much in my head. You said, you're not depriving yourself by not having the candy or the cookies or the sugar. You have to flip it and look at it that you're depriving your body of being healthy and fit by eating that stuff. And like that stuck in my brain. And I was like, I am like, how am I ever going to be a healthy, fit person if I'm eating that stuff, and it's basically toxic to me. It's
What
been,
would you recommend any couple that was looking at doing this instead of the marriage counseling, instead of,
oh my God, yes. There. So my husband's totally not into any of the transformational work. And but he's open to me doing it. And so he's a little interested in what I do and what we talk about. And so like with the book, I can share it with him. I'll be reading, and I'll be like, oh my God, listen to this. This is so cool.
yeah.
So
Anything, even if your spouse doesn't want to, it doesn't really matter because it starts with us. And so if we
right.
get connected to this self-love with ourselves, we get connected to that part of ourselves and fall in love with that part of ourselves, then the true part of ourselves, and let go of everything that is not us, everything benefits around us. And so
Yeah, and it got me off. I was always focused on, you have to change. Like, you have to be the person that I need you to be, and you have to change, and you have to do this, and this. When he doesn't have to do that.
mhm,
I have to, I have to change my way of thinking. And as my way of thinking changes, my behavior changes, and his behavior changes.
I know,
And
right?
like yeah. So, and I look at things different. Like things that previously I would have like blown up about or been really mad about. Now I'm like, okay, like I get it. And I'm just much more relaxed about things, I think. And not like in a bad way, not like in a I don't care way.
No,
Um, but in a I'm not going to let this define how I act. I'm not going to react. I
yeah.
don't know if you know what I mean.
I know
So,
exactly. No, it's perfect because that's what happens. You're just calm about it, and
yeah,
you can respond instead of react, and stay
right.
centered in your own world. And that's such a
Yes.
powerful place to be. Take a stand in your power, but not in a reactive, explosive way, in a loving way. There's a difference, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when we stand in our power in a loving way, we enroll people. We don't push them away, we enroll them. So husbands love this. I mean, I tell people,
Hmm.
that's like the sex life gets better, everything gets better. I'm like, trust me, your husband's going to like this.
Love it. Yeah.
He won't be, he won't be so sad about you doing this, right? Everybody benefits when we are centered. So
Who did you attract? Did you attract your vision board?
I did attract. So yeah, so that was another part of my program. I don't have my vision board here. I do have it at home. And trust me, it's overwhelmed of things. There might be a couple of things that, you know, you may have to give or whatever, but I would say 95% of what's on my board is who I am with today. Like, he is like the sweetest, most amazing man that you will ever meet. Honestly, like, he is perfect for me. He might not be perfect for anybody else, but he's definitely perfect for me. It's what I was looking for.
You attracted someone that loves you.
Not only attract somebody that loves me, everybody around me loves me. Like, I actually feel it. Doesn't matter where I go.
Yeah.
People love me. People remember my name. People are like, oh my God, Reggie, you need to come more often. As opposed to before, they'll be like, okay, yeah, she needs help, right? And you know what? I did, honestly. But this program
But
here.
not help. You needed to release the shit.
I needed to release. Right. So yeah, so I needed to believe. I need to believe in myself more and not be so judgmental in order to attract the people. It's helped me with my friendship. It's helped me with my relationship. Well, finding a good man. It's helped me financially as well. Like, when I first started taking this program, I was making $40,000 a year. I'm now up at $100,000 a year, just believing in myself. Like, it's actually like believing in yourself is truly the key to success.
That's my short testimony and my huge recommendations for Natalie. And the other thing I would say is that she's the kind of person who goes well beyond, I guess, the normal kind of relationship. She just does more than is even promised. She promises probably a lot, but she still does more. She kept working with me and helping me even after the program was technically finished. And it is a coach and mentor relationship, but it's also a relationship of a friend. When you know that the person really cares, that she's not doing it just to, just because you paid the money, or even just because she wants to have a testimonial, you really genuinely feel that she does care. And again, that is a huge thing and not something you can genuinely buy for money. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye.
For any woman that's afraid to make the jump in here, you're going to be lifted by women that you've never met before and might not ever meet across the world, and they're all in the same boat and they're able to do it. Some of them are coming from like all walks of life. Just make the plunge. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. You'll be able to do things you never knew you were capable of, and have dreams you never even thought you were going to dream about or allowed to dream about. You never allowed yourself to do. So just do it. The money is not the issue. It's your outlook and your future is going to be great.